from Smoke & Face Pelt Outdoors, back today with the February edition of the ThriveLife Meal of the Month. You're going to notice I'm at my house. I'm actually between my house and my garage. I had intended to go out into the mountains today to do this, but my wife has a really bad case of the flu, and she can't do a whole lot, so I'm trying to stay around the house and be as accessible for her as I can and help her with stuff around here that she would normally do on the weekends. So I am not leaving, but I didn't want to push this out any further, so I decided I'd go ahead and set up here and just do the meal of the month preparation here. I'm still going to do it on a camp stove. That's my intent with each of these, is to try and do them using some form of a camp or a backpacking stove and just get it done for us. So today I'm going to use butane propane compressed gas stove. This is the Jetboil. Now I'm not going to use the Jetboil cup. I'm going to use the pot stand, which is already mounted on the Jetboil burner, and I'm going to use that so that I can control the temperature, the flame level, so that when it's ready to go from boiling down to the low simmer and just slow cook for the time, I can do that. I can control that very easily. For the meal this month, we're going to do a comfort food, at least for me. I like to be able to take meals that I love to eat at home and bring them into the woods or the mountains when I'm going hiking or camping or backpacking. I like comfort food. And so today I'm going to do a comfort food favorite with a twist. You may have already seen the still when I posted last week that I was going to, coming up today, be releasing this video, and there were the ingredients. There will be stills also at the end of the video here. I'll bring them in. But today I'm going to do green chili macaroni and cheeseburger. So it's like chili mac, but I'm not going to use crock pot chili. I'm going to use diced green chili, and I'm going to use ground beef, onions, and then cheese powder, some seasoning. Let me just show you. So I've got my rotini pasta. I don't care for elbows. They're okay, but I don't prefer them. I prefer to be able to capture all the cheesy goodness in the spirals of the rotini. In the still, you saw that it was Pasa Barilla is the brand that I'm using. Doesn't matter what you use. Follow the instructions on the box for the cooking. I'm using Pasa Barilla gluten-free, so that's a big deal for me. I will also tell you all of the ingredients that I have here. In the description is going to be the recipe and the instructions. It's going to be double what I have here. This is half of that recipe, but I'm not super hungry and I just want to be able to show you, so I halved it. One half of the recipe is 2 servings, so the full recipe is 4 servings. I think 2 servings is a nice light meal. For dinner, a heavier dinner, I would probably do the full thing for 4 servings to get the calories in and to get a larger warm meal in me. But ingredients. So your pasta, this is 1 cup of pasta. Then I have mixed in this little baggie the ground beef, the chopped onions, and the diced green chili, all freeze-dried, all ThriveLife. Fantastic stuff, and that's gonna rehydrate and constitute back up, and it's gonna be just absolutely fantastic. I think you're gonna love this stuff when you see it. Then I've got ThriveLife's, not just powdered milk, but this is freeze-dried instant milk. So the consistency is going to be a little bit different when you make it. It's going to be a little creamier, more like, I don't know if you've ever had powdered milk. Powdered milk tends to be a little bit grainy or gritty. This stuff is not really like that. So I'm going to use this as my milk base, and then I've got a Knorr beef bouillon cube to give a little bit more beef flavor. I'm actually not going to use the whole thing. I'm going to cut it in half to be about 1 teaspoon, but for the full-size serving, it would be 1 cube. Then I have ThriveLife's cheese blend powder, and this is going to make up our cheese sauce. We're going to add a little bit extra water, which is already in here. And I'm actually going to, while I'm going through the rest of this, I'm going to go ahead and start this up, get it going. Get it up to a boil. And this meal is so easy, and I had all my water in this heavy cover titanium canteen. Like I said, I just pre-measured it out. So, ThriveLife cheese blend powder to make the sauce, and then to thicken it up and make it a little bit creamier, this time I'm going to use the ThriveLife shredded, freeze-dried Monerey Jack. Now, the recipe will say Monerey Jack or Cheddar. You can use any of the shreds. Sometimes I use the Cheddar, sometimes I use the Monerey Jack, sometimes I do it half and half. This time I'm just going to do the Monerey Jack. And that's to just thicken up the sauce and make it a little bit creamier. So those are my ingredients. We'll bring the water to a boil, and then once the water is boiling, we'll go ahead and add all of the ingredients in, starting with the Knorr cube. So I'm going to go ahead and use my Greg Campbell Bushcraft knife, and I'm just going to cut this Knorr cube in half. Open it up so I can see it. And again, this is the beef. Knorr makes a beef, a chicken, and a tomato or a vegetable base. I'm going to use the beef because I'm using ground beef, and that's the flavor that I want. And then once I get this up to a rolling boil, I'm going to add in all of the ingredients, starting with the bouillon, the half thing of the bouillon cube, then the pasta, and then working down to the very last, which is going to be the shredded Monerey Jack. So cook time is, once you get all the ingredients in and stirred in and wet, is about 10 to 12 minutes. I'll check the pasta at that point to see if it's soft enough. If it is, then I'll take it off the heat and let it sit at room temperature for about 5 minutes to thicken, and then I'll show you the finished product. Almost there. I've got a lot of bubbles, just about. And then I'm using today my Toaks 2-liter or 2,000 milliliter titanium pot with bail handle as my cooking pot. And then I'm going to use my Toaks titanium long-handled spork, which I use to get down into my pack meal bags. But I'm using that as my cooking utensil and my eating utensil. So we're almost there. Alright, we're at a boil. So I'm going to go ahead and add in the pasta. Good there. Get that all stirred in. I'm going to add in the ground beef, green chili, and onion mixture. And the half cube. And I'm just going to kind of break it up and crush it up so it dissolves a little bit faster. And I'm going to take the rest of it, and I'm just going to put it back into this bag, because I'll use it again for another dish. Now I'm going to add in the instant milk powder. And again, if you don't have the ThriveLife stuff, you can use other stuff to make that. So if you have just regular powdered milk, you can do that. But I really like the ThriveLife stuff. There's nothing else added to it. It's just the actual ingredients freeze-dried. Now I'm going to add in the cheese blend powder to make the sauce. And again, we used milk powder, cheese blend powder, and then going to use the shredded Monerey Jack just to thicken it up a little bit. I didn't add a whole lot of extra water to that. And I'm going to reduce the temperature down here because I don't want to scorch this. There we go. Let's stir that all in. Make sure we've got it well covered. Pardon the shaking. I don't like the camera shaking either. But this is it cooking. So I'm going to let it do its thing for about 10 minutes here. And I'll check it, and then we'll come back and let it thicken up for us. Stick around. Alright, so we're about 12 minutes of cook time. I'm going to give it now 5 minutes. I've turned the heat off. I'm going to give it now 5 minutes off the heat for the sauce to thicken. I was stirring it right there at the end. I think our noodles are just about ready. You see the cheesiness there? Some ground beef, some noodles, some green chili, some onions. Super good. And again, one of the things that I really love about Thrive, yeah, you can go get the Mountain House meals, and there's nothing wrong with those, right? But with Thrive, I know exactly what's going into my dish. I know every ingredient. There's not a bunch of fillers, additives, preservatives. It's not crammed full of salt and sodium. So that's for me. And then the fact that I eat gluten-free, the ability for me to take and manipulate a meal into a gluten-free dish using stuff that I'm used to using around the house is a huge deal for me. They make gluten-free pack meals. Alpine Air makes some. Backpacker's Pantry. They're out there, right? But when you start going into the gluten-free stuff with specialty foods, you go from $8 or $9 a bag to $12 to $14 a bag for a meal pretty quick, right? And so for me, I can buy the bulk Thrive base ingredients, and I can mix and match and make all of these things that I would normally make at home ready to go, and I can take them with me, all vacuum sealed. And when I vacuum seal, so if it's a multi-stage dish where I need to cook part of it first and then add a sauce or whatever, anything that needs to be done, I just vacuum seal that section and label it and put it in order. So 1, 2, 3, whatever. So if I were doing a pasta dish where I was doing like spaghetti and meat sauce and cheese topping, right, then I would go ahead and put the spaghetti, get it into my vacuum seal bag, and I'd label it. How much water to get it, how long to cook it, and number 1. That's it. That's the first item. Then number 2, label it, what it is, which is the meat sauce or the marinara sauce or whatever, how much water to add, how long to cook it, number 2. Number 3, cheese sauce or cheese topping, whatever. Vacuum seal it, put that all into either a Ziploc bag if I can, and fold it down, get all the air out, and just label what it is, right? Or if I'm ready, I can, like I was saying with these, if I need to be able to put it all into one, then I just put it into a larger vacuum seal bag on the Food Saver, label out how long to cook it, how much water, and I've got a very simple system that and it doesn't cost. I mean, there's cost to everything, right? But I know every item that's going into this, and I can manipulate it to fit my dietary needs. So if you deal with dietary needs, this is probably a great option for you, especially if you do any backpacking or hiking or camping, where having a freeze-dried meal and not being limited to just 1 or 2 or 3 items, but anything that you could normally eat at home, then you take it in a freeze-dried option, and some things that you might not have, go ahead and dehydrate them or whatever. Most of us don't have freeze dryers at home, so dehydrate whatever it is, and you can begin to build your own backpacking meals for a fraction of the cost. But the most important part is not even the money, but not having all of those fillers and preservatives and sodium and all of that junk that is just so hard on our bodies. You don't have all of that. You're able to control all of it. And with some of them, some of the backpacking meals, the seasonings are fantastic. They taste absolutely delicious. Well seasoned, you don't need to add a whole lot. But when you're doing it this way, you can control what seasoning, how much, and you can make it to your taste. You can make it as spicy or as mild as you want it. Whatever it is you want. And if there's something that, I like this dish, but it doesn't really have enough When you're making it yourself, you can make it the way that you like it. It just gives you a bunch more control for the same cost or less. And I like that. It's worth the effort to buy it and put it together. And in fact, when we buy the ThriveLife stuff, we don't use it just for backpacking or camping or survival food. We use it in our kitchen regularly, week in and week out. We make dishes with ThriveLife. So when I come out here and I do these videos, this is stuff that we have done in the kitchen, and I enjoy it, and I take it with me. They're comfort foods that I love at home that I can take with me on the go. But there you have it. That is the ThriveLife Meal of the Month, green chili macaroni and cheeseburger. I'll get some stills of the finished product so you can see it up close and better. And hope you enjoy it. Leave me your comments, suggestions, whatever, in the questions down in the comment box, and I will try to respond. Hope you like the video. Hope you find it useful. If you do, hit the like button, subscribe, hit the little bell icon so you're automatically updated every time I post a video. You can get it right to your inbox, and it'll tell you, hey, you got a video from Smokin' Face Pelt Outdoors. I would love to have your subscriptions. I hope you find it useful. Thanks for watching.